A company sells about $700 million of goods every single day and keeps almost none of the money. Take $100 of that shopping. After the suppliers, the staff, the fuel, and the lights are paid, under $3 stays in the building. $3 out of 100. It sounds like a business barely staying alive, and it is one of the most successful retailers on earth. The food is only the bait. The real business is somewhere else in the building, and most members have never once noticed it. The company is Costco, and the thing they actually sell costs $65 a year in America and fits in a wallet. By the end of this, a hot dog they lose money on deliberately is going to look like the smartest thing on the menu. 2/3 of everything this company earns has nothing to do with any item on any shelf. Skip the meat, skip the televisions, skip the entire warehouse floor. To find where that money really comes from, shrink the whole company down to one person. One member pays $65 a year for a plastic card. Spread across the year, that card costs the member about 18 cents a day. 18 cents. Nobody bends down to pick that up off the pavement. Around 80 million paid memberships are handing it over. 80 million cards at 18 cents a day comes to roughly $14 million every day before the doors open. Here is the rest of that same day in plain numbers. Everything the company sells in one day comes to about $700 million. The suppliers take back around $620 million of that. Wages, rent, lights, and fuel swallow another $60 million or so. What survives to the end of an average day is roughly $20 million. 14 of those $20 million walked in as membership fees. Everything left over is what selling $700 million of merchandise actually earned. Guess which half of that day involved the hard work? A fee like that only works if the member pays it again next year, so guess how many do? Out of every 100 members in America and Canada, about 93 sign up again. Costco refuses to stock 9 out of every 10 products a supermarket would carry. A supermarket holds around 30,000 different items, and Costco holds under 4,000. Bigger building, fewer things inside it. And one Costco warehouse still rings up more in a single day than an average supermarket takes in a week. Guess how many kinds of peanut butter a member gets to choose from? In a supermarket, 20 or 30. In Costco, often 2. That sounds like poor service until you go and stand where the supplier is standing. The peanut butter company is staring at one order that feeds every warehouse in the country for months. Win it, and the factory runs all year. Lose it, and there is no smaller shelf to settle for. The supplier cuts the price to the bone before Costco even asks. Costco has a hard rule about what it does with a price that cheap. No item may be marked up more than about 14% above what the company paid for it. Buy something in for $100, and the most Costco will charge is around $114. The Kirkland brand gets 1 extra point of room, 15. A supermarket adds closer to 25 or 30, and a clothing shop adds 50 and calls it a sale. Going above that ceiling means asking the very top of the company, and the answer that comes back is almost always no. That ceiling is why the store's own label turned into a giant, and Kirkland's signature now sells more in a year than Nike takes in worldwide. A hot dog and a soda cost $1.50 in 1985, and they cost $1.50 today. 40 years, same price, same size. That same money back then would be worth something like $4.50 now. So the hot dog quietly turned into roughly 1/3 of the price it used to be. Guess how the company held it there? The obvious answer is cheaper meat, and the obvious answer is wrong. When hot dog prices started climbing, Costco started making the hot dogs itself, in its own plant. The price of that hot dog now sits inside Costco's own hands. The man who built Costco gave his successor exactly one instruction about it. "Raise the price of that hot dog," he said, "and I will kill you." He was joking. Mostly. The roast chicken is the same move at a bigger size. $4.99, held there for more than 15 years, while feed and fuel got dearer every single year. Costco sells well over 100 million of those chickens a year, giving up somewhere around a quarter on each bird. Call it something like $90,000 a day walking out the door in a plastic tub. And hardly anybody notices the last piece. A pallet of detergent clears the floor in about a month, and the bill from the detergent company falls due a little after that. The person at your checkout is paid half again as much as most shop workers in America, and that decision makes Costco money. It looks like generosity, or like bad management, depending on your mood. It is a cost decision, and it works out cheaper. Shrink it to one shift. One full-time worker on an 8-hour shift costs the company somewhere near $300 once the health cover is counted. A single Costco warehouse takes about $780,000 on an ordinary day. Spread across opening hours, roughly $1,000 a minute is crossing those tills. So one worker's entire day of wages is covered by about 18 seconds of trading. What the company buys with those 18 seconds is people who stay. Once someone has been there a year, fewer than 1 in 10 leave, and across the rest of the trade, the number is many times that. Guess what Costco spends on advertising? For most of its life, close to nothing. The $90,000 a day given up on roast chicken is the advertising. So is the $1.50 hot dog, and so is the fuel that is usually cheaper than the station across the road. Those are the only 3 prices most people can quote from memory, and every one of them loses money on purpose. Each one buys a renewal worth $65. 80 million people pay 18 cents a day to shop somewhere that has promised never to add more than about 14% to what it paid. The goods are just the reason to come. Costco already sells eyeglasses, hearing aids, tires, and caskets. So what happens to an entire trade in the month Costco decides to stock it?